going on, guys? Your boy Coach Anthony, and today I got a really good video, and it's going to be 8 tips on how to increase your punching power, or 8 tips on how to punch harder, whatever you want to say. And this is something that I get asked all the time because people want to hit harder, and with good reason, right? I mean, you're in a sport where if you can't hurt a guy, then how do you expect that guy to stop coming at you? How do you expect that guy to, respect you, right? So you have to have a certain amount of punching power in order to get a guy to respect you, okay? Now, I also want to go ahead and say, punchers are born, okay? But at the end of the day, you can increase your own personal punching power, right? So a lot of people, for instance, may see a Mike Tyson or a Triple G, right? Guys like that, guys like Canelo, guys who, that are just known for knocking guys out and hurting guys with punches. Just because you do these tips doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be one of those kind of guys. But what I will say is whatever you genetically can do, this will help you maximize your own potential. Remember, we're all given different gifts in boxing. Some of us are fast by nature. Some of us hit hard by nature. Some of us are just technically sound by nature. Some people are unorthodox by nature, and that actually helps them. So let's just get right into the tips, okay? And the first tip that I have for you guys, okay, is going to be proper form and technique. Have good form and technique. And the reason I say that, if I'm over here on a heavy bag and I'm throwing my punches right, it's going to be no power there, right? Because I'm over here just throwing arm punches or just slapping or whatever. And in order to be able to maximize your punching power, you have to have good form and technique. So you have to make sure you understand the fundamentals. You have a good stance, a good toe-heel alignment. You understand how to turn your punches over. You know what I'm saying? You understand how to throw your hooks or whatnot. And this is going to be probably, if not the most important tip out of all the tips, because without proper form and technique, how are you going to maximize your power? The form and the technique and the fundamentals is the core basis to everything in boxing, not just punching power. It helps with your speed. It helps with your defense. It helps with everything, okay? So make sure that you have the basics down. Make sure that you understand the stance, the basic, fundamentals needed in order to increase punching power. And if you don't know the basics, if you don't know where to begin, I have a free ebook, guys, okay? I also have a few other courses, Build You From the Ground Up and Build You From the Ground Up 2.0, right? 1.0 and 2.0 that you can grab. But if you don't want to grab a course, get the free ebook, because in my ebook, I'm giving you a bunch of free information. And if you already got the ebook, then you already know how much good stuff's in there, okay? So tip number 1, have good form and technique. Okay, tip number 2. Now, this is going to be a very important tip. And this tip might contradict the next tip that I'm going to give just a little bit, but it's also going to fall in line with a lot of the other tips, okay? So I just want to give you that, because when I say one thing and then I go to the next thing, I want you to know that I have a purpose on why I'm saying both things, right? It's very important that we understand every angle when we talk about boxing, and especially increasing something like punching power. That's very important, okay? So this particular tip is going to be, make sure your feet are planted to the ground, okay? And this is very important because, for instance, and you'll see why I say it contradicts tip 3, but then how it falls in line with the other tips. If I'm throwing a right hand on the heavy bag, for instance, right? Let's just say I'm measuring out. I need this feet to the ground so I could go ahead and get that full turn, that full twist, which is going to be another tip that we're going to get to in a minute. But, that I give you everything that I got into that punch, right? So if my feet are off the ground per se, I'm going to lose a punching power, okay? And before I demonstrate the punch, I know you guys are waiting for it. Sugar Ray Leonard, okay? He was known for moving around the ring and being real flashy and throwing a lot of good combinations and sticking and moving. But if you notice, when he decided to stick and move, when he decided to stay there and exchange with you, his feet were planted to the ground. Those feet weren't bouncing around, okay? So to get back over here, and Sugar Ray Leonard, he can crack too. Don't get him twisted just because he was fast. But to get back over here, when I decide that I want to throw that right hand, this feet's already going to be to the ground. All right? And I'm going to get a good shot off. I'll do it again. Okay, so now notice, I'm measuring the bag. I'm making sure that I got good range. I make sure that I use tip number 1, which is good form and technique. And I twist and I turn the shot the way it's supposed to get turned, okay? And if you don't know the form and technique, then how are you going to be able to increase the power, right? But assuming you know everything that you need to know, I'm planted, feet are to the ground, and then I get a nice right hand off. So it's very important that your feet are planted to the ground when you're deciding that you want to throw power punches. Okay, so now tip number 3, okay, is going to be step into your punches. Now, if you notice, I'm still sticking with the 1-2 here. I haven't even started to talk about the hooks and the uppercuts yet. But this is the contradictory video that I'm making to tip number 2, which was to make sure your feet were to the ground. And the reason why I say step into your punches, well, for one, in order to maximize the jab, you need to step with it, okay? First, you're going to want to snap it. But then the next thing is you're going to want to step with it to maximize power. And then when you step in with your 1-2, you're also building a momentum. Another thing that you could do as an additional bonus tip is think speed, okay? Because when you punch with momentum and speed, those punches will actually generate power, okay? So what do I mean about it contradicting? Well, let's just say if you ever see my video, 5 tips on how to increase speed, if you haven't seen it, I'll have it up here somewhere. Very important that you check that video out, because remember, speed is power, okay? Power ain't just power by itself, okay? So if I'm here and let's just say I'm using a bounce, some sort of a rhythm, and now I want to throw a quick hard 1-2, okay? So now I stepped into it, okay? So one more time, I'm moving around, giving you a little movement, and then I decide, okay, now notice though, even though my feet might have came off the ground a little bit because I got a step, when I decide to throw that 2, I try to make sure that feet is still planted to the ground when I decide to release the punch. So it's like the stepping happens, but it's very minimal. So one more time, I'm moving, and there goes a little bit of power. I felt like I could have did that a little better. Try it again. Okay, so power and speed work together, but you get the momentum from the step. So when you step in, bang, bang, you can maximize your power. Okay, now tip number 4. Before we get to tip number 4, like, subscribe. And then after the video is done, comment, of course. I'm going to say like, comment, subscribe, but obviously you're going to have to comment at the end of the video. But if you're gaining value from this, okay, please just like it. Hit the notifications, help me build the algorithm up, guys. I want to keep dropping these videos for you guys so we can go ahead and keep learning. And but I need your help, man, right? I need your help. Okay, so the next one's going to be make sure you rotate and turn your body when you throw your power punches. Now, a lot of you guys may not know, but in boxing, anything other than a jab is considered a power punch. So whether you throw a straight right hand soft or right hook soft, or left uppercut soft, everything other than the jab is considered a power shot in boxing. By copy box, when you go ahead and you see 300 power shots thrown or whatever, it's the right hand, left hook, right uppercut, southpaw, obviously, left uppercut, right hook. You know what I'm saying? Everything other than a jab, all right? So when you throw your power punches, make sure you rotate the body. We've spent a lot of time in the first few tips dealing with the 1-2 or the straight right hand, right? And obviously, when I throw that right hand, I rotated it, right? But when I throw that lead hook, for my southpaws, it would be a right hook. For my orthodox, is the left hook, right? It's the same idea. If we want to build power, if you guys want to see a video that I did with Fast Eddie Chambers in the past, it'll be up here somewhere. Make sure you guys check that out. But you want to go ahead and you want to rotate your body. So I'm going to rotate, put everything over the lead leg. And then from right here, I'm going to turn when I throw my lead hook, okay? If I'm throwing a rear hook, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to turn, okay? Turn when I go ahead and I release those hooks. If I decide that I want to throw uppercuts, it's the same thing. I'm going to turn and I'm going to twist and turn, or even in this one, I'm going to do more of a pushing out of the hip for the lead uppercut, okay? But you want to rotate and turn the body into those punches. That's how you're going to maximize power. Okay, so when you're going ahead and you're throwing those hooks, all right, if I'm here on this side, and of course with the straight right hand, all right, we got to turn when we throw those punches. All right, so make sure you're turning your feet are to the ground like we covered in other tips. Good form and technique, and you'll maximize your power there. All right, guys, tip number 5. Sit down on your hooks and uppercuts. And honestly, this is a video that I already covered in the past. So I'll go ahead and put the link up there for you guys, all right? But sitting down on your punches, basically, I should say, because it can even apply for your cross as well. And when you sit down on your punches, all right, it's basically going back to tip number 2, keep your feet planted to the ground. The only thing that I'm adding when I say sit down on my punches is we just don't want to stand too tall, right? We want to actually, like, if I have my feet locked out, I'm just sitting down, right? Like making believe there's a chair behind me and I'm sitting down, but it's more of like a high chair, right? It's not like a low chair. You don't want to be one of these guys like this, right? You just want to slightly bend your knees, be nice and comfortable. And when we're throwing those hooks, boom, we're putting something. We're putting everything behind it. We're putting everything behind it. When I throw those uppercuts, same idea. Everything behind it, everything behind it. So sitting down on your punches is where you're going to go ahead and you're going to be able to dig and then dig and the same thing with your hooks. All right, so sitting down on your punches, next tip. Okay, now this brings me to my next tip, which is they all work together. If you notice, they all kind of almost are just similar versions of the same tip over and over again. But this one's going to be don't rush. Take your time. When you're throwing power punches, it's not about trying to get them off as fast as you can all the time. Now, you're going to have situations where if you're in the mix and you're going to have to mix it up with a guy, then yeah, you're going to want to go ahead and throw those punches as fast as you can. But when you're placing your punches, you know what I mean? When you're really looking to sit down on your punches, you don't want to rush, right? If I'm looking to go ahead and rip that hook to the body and I'm over here, you know, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure the shot's there and then I'm going to dig it in. If I'm trying to get it on the other side, right? I got to take my time. Take my time. Okay, so I'm taking my time when I punch, but at the same time, I'm releasing the punches fast and hard. So I'm going to release the punches fast. I'm going to release them hard, but I'm going to take my time and make sure the shot is there. Because if I'm just throwing and I'm just rushing and the guy sees it coming, he makes me miss, and then I start getting fatigued and tired. I look sloppy. It's not a good thing. So take your time. Okay, the next tip I'm going to give you is stay relaxed. All right, when you tense your body up and you're like, oh, I'm going to hit him hard, a lot of times there's no power there. All right, so you just want to be nice and relaxed. You know, I could throw a hard punch if I follow all those tips that I just gave you already, and I just stay nice and relaxed. You know what I'm saying? You can just be relaxed and, right? Wow. The shots just come out. You know what I mean? The shots just come out. So it's speed, power, relaxation, turning of the body, making sure the feet are to the ground. You know what I mean? Making sure that I'm sitting on my hard shots, not rushing, taking my time, making sure I place the punches. Stay relaxed. It'll do you a lot of good. Okay, and this tip right here is going to be don't hold your breath. And this basically bounces off of, tip number 7, which was, stay relaxed. Because whenever I'm punching, I'm like, it's going to tense me up. So let it out. Let it out. You know what I'm saying? Notice I'm yelling almost. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Don't feel shy in a boxing gym breathing like that. This is very common. This is very normal. I used to deal with this with my females, my female clients that I used to deal with. They felt shy and embarrassed to let it out. Oh no, people are looking at me. Listen, let it out. Get comfortable. All that's normal in a boxing gym. Honestly, if you're the guy in the corner, guess what? Everybody's going to be like, what's wrong with that guy? You know what I'm saying? So you actually fit in when you're breathing. And you don't got to yell like me, right? It could just be whatever works for you. Me, I have a tendency of just yelling, letting it out. All right, but that's also going to help you release that punching power into the shot. Guys, go to the website, coachanthonyboxing.com. If you are a new subscriber to my channel, if you've never seen any of my other stuff, get the free ebook, okay? I stopped promoting the ebook for a while now, but I'm starting to see a new bunch of people come into my, into my site Guys, get the ebook. The ebook is absolutely free, and it is a fantastic piece of work. And if you already got the ebook, drop a comment below. Let me know that you got the ebook. The ebook will be in the description. Make sure it's highlighted. Get the ebook if you already got the ebook. And this isn't just if you got the ebook. If you also, get the ebook, I'm going to have all these tips listed in the PDF, downloaded, so you can go ahead and have a reference guide, so you can go ahead and, if you don't got the video and you still want to be able to remember these tips when you're hitting the heavy bag, maybe you want to place on the wall, get the download, get the free PDF, get 8 tips on how to increase punch-in power. And guys, you already know, boxing life.